We are on day 18. We are not just ramping up to the tent pole, we are physically inside the tent pole pages. So if you are not there yet, get there. Just jump ahead. That's okay. You know how fine I am with that concept. And we should be at the location, at the very least, of the tent pole. We may have had some skirmishes. We may have seen the villain. We may not yet. We may still be in the mini boss phase. But we really should be in the arena because we need to spend some serious pages because of how important the tent pole is. Therefore, we must dedicate pages to it, the weight of the words, to show the reader how important this event is. Hopefully you have a lot of fun stuff planned. You're not going to pull out the big guns, though, for a few days at the climax of the tent pole, the peak, the pinnacle of the tent pole. But certainly we should be feeling the pressure. We should be feeling uncomfortable. We should be bracing for the pretty traumatic event that is going to occur. Right now, it can seem as if the hero is going to win. As a matter of fact, we should be very hopeful. He may have some minor wins just to build up our hopes so that we can crush it later. So the topic for today, since we're driving towards the tent pole, and that's very unique to you, I can't really tell you how to do that. I can just tell you that's what you should be doing. But today we're going to talk about action, mainly physical, but really how equivalent it is to emotional action. Now, if you are in first person or third person single, you are married to that perspective, and everything has to be seen through that perspective. And this is where it's more difficult. Yes, those first person is certainly more intimate, and there's times when you make decisions to be third person single, but this is where it's a little bit of a problem, is during these action sequences. If you're in third person multiple, I like to swivel, I like to pivot, I like to go around the room and see the action from different perspectives, and it refreshes the palette, and it boom, 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 boom. We can get some really good tension and pacing and action and reader engagement with third person POV. If you're in first person or third person single, you're married, don't ignore what I say, but obviously you have to do it from what you have already done. You can't suddenly switch to third person multiple for the action sequences if you haven't been in it before. Now, you can make a decision. This isn't working in action, so I am going to do third person multiple and go back later and see those other POVs. That's totally fine. You can even decide first person's too hard right now. I'm going to switch to third person multiple. That's fine. You'll just have to fix it later. But if you're going to stay steady to those two, then you have to stay steady to those two and just make it the best you can. Third person multiple, I like to be in the most interesting head as always. So when something new comes up, the new monster comes, we want to be with the person who's next to the new monster coming, not off to the side fighting, the turtles. We really want to be in the most interesting perspective, and sometimes that is not the hero. And sometimes the hero is battling, but we don't want to be in his perspective. Maybe you want to be in a love interest who's really worried about the hero. So you get to make those decisions about who is the most interesting. And just like a story, there's a beginning, a middle, and end to a fight. We want that beginning, the middle, and the end. So right now we're in the beginning of the tent pole. And we're going to heighten tension, heighten tension, heighten tension until we get to the pinnacle. And then we're going to lower the hammer on the hero and crush his dreams and his soul. And then we're going to have a conclusion of the tent pole, and then the emotional consequences of that. So just like a physical fight, an emotional fight has a beginning, a middle, and end. You start off with some mild fighting up to maybe it's a sibling, mom always loved me better, up to maybe the conclusion, you're adopted. That's when the hammer gets dropped on our hero to have their whole world view shattered. So that is an emotional fight. We start off petty, we move into maybe more emotional things, and then we really drop the hammer on something that would really, really, really crush this person's spirit. The same with the physical fight. We start off in the fight, it feels fairly evenly matched. We heighten, maybe we start hand to hand, we go to weapons, we go to nuclear weapons. That again, this is 1000% your story. The tent pole just has to fulfill the genre. This fight has to fulfill the genre. And when I talk about that genre, you need to be thinking of, what do you love about this genre? Because this book should be in your wheelhouse. You should have read a lot. You should enjoy this genre. What do you enjoy? Maybe pick up some books that you loved and are your favorites, and go to the middle of the book. Just break the spine right in the middle and read what's going on. More than likely, the tentpole's right there. And remind yourself why you loved it. You might want to go to movies, which is far easier sometimes, and they're much more structurally correct, is go to a favorite movie in your genre and go right to the middle of the movie and see what kind of action, how are they playing it out if you're struggling to think up things, and to make it cool and fun enough. And you may not make it cool and fun enough this time. That may be your third book you break through on that. If you're struggling this time, what I would say is put that information under your cap so that in preparation for your next book, you maybe spend a little bit more time thinking about the tentpole, so that by the time you get here, you have a better idea of it, so you don't kind of limp through it like maybe you are right now. Or maybe you're breezing through it, and that's fantastic. If you're breezing through it, I'm going to challenge you right now, make it harder. If you're breezing, I can almost guarantee you're not making it hard enough, that you're not being up your hero enough. So make it harder. Whatever you've planned, up your game. Up it right now. Make that fight more intense, more viscerally intense, more emotionally intense. I want to really see some exciting action, because remember, this is your preview to your climax. If you can't pull off the tentpole, then people are not going to, why would they read more? If you can't pull off the tentpole, then clearly you can't pull off the climax, right? So this is a proving ground to the reader for you. Again, right, organically, don't worry too much about it. We can fix it later. I just like to tell you where you should be and where you want to be working on. And if you are in third person multiple, pop around, go to different heads, go to the most interesting head, swivel the camera, almost like cutting a movie where we see this and we see that and we see this and we see that and we see a bit of that, and oh, somebody's in danger and we leave him in danger, and then we go over here, and then we leave him in danger, and then we go over here, and then we leave him in danger. That is what the tentpole should feel like and be like, unless of course you're in first person or third person single. The same thing though is that you probably want to move them maybe in time and place a little bit and jerk them around to get some excitement and some verve in there. Okay, this was day 18. We are moving on to day 19, which is pushing to day 20, which is halfway through your book. How incredibly exciting is that? All right, I will see you tomorrow.